let's jump right in here. So I went ahead and created a few demo projects that I can use to show you what all I've set up in Keyboard Maestro. Um, let's hop into Keyboard Maestro first, and you can kind of just see what I have set up in here. And so what these things do. So a few of these are AppleScript related. Some of these are just simple things that are in here for that use the window management and other features of Keyboard Maestro. Um, but but the scripts mostly I pulled from a lot of different locations, and so I'll try to include links to where those are at. Um, but most of these are pretty straightforward once you jump in here. So like this one, it just toggles this specific tag, so you'll be able to adjust that to whatever your setup is just by editing these pretty easily. And there's logic in here for this set today. If you do a due date based setup instead of a defer date like I do, then you can adjust that to in these options in here. So yeah, so let's dive in and take a look, and hopefully this is beneficial to some of y'all. First one's, I jump around back and forth between the project list and the tasks a lot, so I have this command option left and right set up to jump between the two. And so I can jump command option left over there, command option right will go back into the task list. I have an inspector one set up, so if I for some reason need to tab into a specific field in the inspector, you can toggle the inspector back and forth with that command option I, and then you can run through each of the things. If you need to get to the estimated duration, for instance, or the completed date, that's helpful for that for me. Modify projects. Again, a lot of these are ripped from things just because I feel like the keyboard shortcuts were well done. But that command Shift M will jump you into the project, and then I could move it to say the quick actions demo, or a different one if I wanted to. Tags, command option T, or sorry, I keep messing these keyboard shortcuts up in my brain. Command Shift T will jump you in there, and it will simulate a keystroke of the space bar so that the auto list will pop up, and that way you can I can dive in and see my tags as opposed to having to guess or type a character first. Modify defer date is command Shift S, and that will jump you into here, and then you can use any of the standard OmniFocus lingo in here. So +1 day to do that. Defer date command Shift D. Let's do that to next Friday. Modify repeats command Shift /. It will jump you down in here. There is a setting in Mac OS that you can do that will allow you to tab to every field. I find it kind of annoying, so I don't have it turned on all the time, but it would be helpful in this sense to where you could say 3, and then you'd be able to tab over here to this select field and modify which 3 months, 3 years, 3 days. Right now, as it stands, I use it to quickly jump in and hit the number, but then I still have to use my mouse to kind of track where I want that to repeat. Move up and down a project is command option control down and up, and then that is another way to just jump up and down between those. Toggle completed tasks. So if you hit command option C, that will hide completed tasks and it will show them. Same thing for projects. It affects the projects sidebar. It also affects the actual tasks themselves within your projects. You can toggle available tasks in the same fashion. So down here in this date section, I have a few that are set up in the future. And so if I hit command option K, that's going to show the ones that are coming up that are remaining, not just available. And then command option K will hide those. You can open URLs and notes. I have this set to Hyper-G. And so that's, if you're not familiar with that, it's the command option control shift. This is set through Carabiner. But I hit that to Hyper-G, and then that will open any URL that's in my my notes. And this works. I have it set. If we jump into Keyboard Maestro, I have it set to, where's it at here? This will also pull in OmniFocus URLs, and then also I believe I have it set up for message URLs as well. But I think that's taken care of through these this setup here. The OmniFocus one is nice because it's specifically looking for that OmniFocus URL, and then it'll create a new tab for it. So like for instance, if I say grabbed, let's see here, copy as link, Let's put that in this one. What I can do is when it jumps into that URL, it will open a new tab into that URL, as opposed to allowing you to quickly jump back to where you were without needing to adjust or remember where you were previously. This one is just, for me, I continually always want to do Command-Shift-O to open the quick entry. I don't know why. It's just a stupid brain thing, and so I just have that reassigned in Keyboard Maestro for that. And then this one, every once in a while, I would want to adjust the theme without changing my system preferences, and so that one's set up for that. Toggle tags. I oftentimes will use my the control key to toggle different tags. So if I have especially busy days, I use these three to kind of segment my days into different sections on what I'm working on. And so that way I can toggle the morning tag, that'll go on and off. I can toggle the afternoon tag on and off, evening tag. And so that just allows me in my dashboard perspective to be able to dive into these specific areas. As you can see on the left-hand side, I have morning, afternoon, and evening perspective set up as well. So if I was in here and I had this one set to morning, afternoon, and then evening, I can drill down throughout my day. So here's a morning one. This will just show my morning tags. And then when you go into the afternoon, if there are any morning ones that are left over, those show up. And then you see afternoon, and then evening, you'll get all of them. And so that way I can make sure I'm seeing the things that I need to see. And I mean, they all show up in my dashboard though, so I can move them around if I need to later on. Toggle someday. These are pretty straightforward. It just toggles the someday tag, so I can hide those tasks if I want to quickly. If I move something to a waiting on state, then I can toggle those quickly. And then these I use a lot. So Control T will set something to today. And so when I'm triaging and going through and trying to figure out what I'm working on the next day, or even that day, when I run out of tasks to do sometimes, very rare, but every once in a while, I can jump through and quickly hit Control T to do that. Or I can say, hey, what am I working on tomorrow when I'm doing my shutdown routine review? I can hit Control Y for all the things that I want to do the next day. This control bracket will adjust by 1 day and down by 1 day, going the opposite way. And Control Shift bracket will go up a week and down a week with those. All right, this one is a little more sophisticated. This is running. How many days from today do you want to defer or adjust the due dates? So if you have a task, let's say this one is set to, the beauty of this one is, let's say this is set to next Friday, and you have a due date of, June 24th. What you can do is you can say, hey, I want to adjust this out, but it needs to be due maybe 30 days from where it's currently scheduled. You can adjust just the start date, just the defer date. You can adjust just the due date, or you can do both. And so let's say you do both, it will jump them both forward by those 30 days. And so I don't use this a lot, but every once in a while, if I have a few tasks that are very specifically scheduled, it's kind of nice to be able to adjust both dates at the same time without having to worry about jumping in there individually and adjusting the calculations. And then this one will just clear dates. Sometimes I just need to get things out of my view and the dates don't matter anymore. And so I can just hit Control Shift K and that will clear both defer and due dates for any tasks in there. Last one in this quick action section is this create meta task. I believe Kurosh talks about this in his book. And so what I often do is I want to see a single task for my project, but I want to see that single task relating to that project in my view for the day. And so what I can do is select a project, hit Control Shift F, and then that is going to create a focused task for that project. It's starred so that it will show up in my today view, and then it also in the notes will be a link to that. So what I can do is use the previous one that I'd set up, that hyper F. I can hit that, and that will focus in on that single project that I want to work on. And this also allows me to keep track of what I've worked on when I'm spanning a huge project, because sometimes I'm not able to check off a task in a project that I've been working on, but I can check off this focus task. And so that way I can hit that and say, okay, I worked on that today, and I made some progress on it. Nothing was able to be checked off, but but I did work on it. So I kind of can see those tasks. And then you can close out and you're all good. Sorting. So let's reveal what's coming up. I can hit Option D, and that will bring up all the different ways to sort. And so since these are primarily defer based, I can hit 1, and that will sort by the defer dates. And so if I have, for instance, on my routine lists, oftentimes, because OmniFocus can't automatically sort by things, by these dates, at least in the project view anyways, I just dive in there every once in a while and adjust these. And so I'm able to go in Option D, sort by defer date, and that will kind of bring everything back in line so I can see what's coming up and have my lists sorted. It also works for due dates, so Option D and then 2 to do by due date, and that will bring those up to the top so you can see the super important things that are coming up in whatever list you're going through. Sort by name, this one's pretty straightforward. I rarely use this, but every once in a while I'll have things that I just want to get in line alphabetically. And so I can just hit that Option N, and that will sort by name. Lastly is these layouts. I have not toyed with these too much, but I got this, I think, from David Sparks. But creating multiple windows. So I can hit Control D, and what that will do is open my dashboard perspective for what I have to do today, and then also open the forecast view and show me what's coming up. And so this way I can kind of see my calendar events coming up, and then I also can see just the list of tasks in a more concise view than what forecast shows me. Maybe forecast will get updated and we'll be able to be better sorted as far as multiple defer and do's and tags and things like that. But at the moment, this is the best way I found to kind of get an overview of my calendar for the day, and then also be able to segment my tasks for what I'm trying to do for that day. And then this one just toggles a simple control, simple view, and then go back to the main full screen. I believe I got that from Kurosh as well. So there you have it. Those are all the things that I've set up in Keyword Maestro. Hopefully they're helpful for you, and hopefully they give you something, a springboard to kind of jump off of for what you're doing.